Hi, on today's chat here at Bits and Bytes on Italian cinema and other stuff, we're going to talk about fashion and specifically tailoring. It is, after all, the setting for the new film Diamanti by Ferzan Ozpetek, of which I'll talk a bit about later. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard about or perhaps follow on social media the sartorial shenanigans of the rich and famous. The Met Gala is the annual haute couture fundraising festival held for the benefit of the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute in Manhattan. The Met Gala is popularly regarded as the world's most prestigious and glamorous fashion event. Attendees are given the opportunity to express themselves through fashion, often producing elaborate and highly publicized outfits inspired by the evening's theme. The event is known as fashion's biggest night. The Met Gala 2025 was held this past May and focused on the theme Superfine, Tailoring Black Style, which explored the evolution of tailored clothing. Over the years, the Met Gala has produced some of the most elaborate, ornamented, and overdone fashion statements that have either roused or repelled enthusiasts. Call it what you will, but I question calling it haute couture. Haute couture traditionally is refined, elegant, and is high dressmaking. It is always produced by leading fashion houses. Italian haute couture, known as alta moda, has a rich history, evolving from strong textile traditions to international recognition. While the French were the dominant force in haute couture, particularly during the 19th and early 20th century, Italian fashion saw a resurgence in the mid 20th century, challenging French dominance and establishing itself as a major player. Several prominent Italian fashion houses, including Bulgari, Prada, Gucci, and Ferragamo, were founded during this period, laying the groundwork for future success. As my father was a women's tailor in Rome in the mid 1950s, I well remember him speaking of some of these fashion houses. One fond memory I have is of being taken on a special errand to a place I now understand to have been one of the many sartorie, or sewing rooms, in Rome. There I found myself in a workroom busy as a beehive. People stood over enormous tables cutting cloths. Others, mainly women, were hunched over sewing machines or on their laps as they stitched feverishly the fabrics they molded, shaping them into gowns, tailleurs, day dresses, and suits. I remember being asked to wait in a large room with a dais, some kind of a raised platform, where I sat until someone came out and gave me scraps of fabrics for my dolly. I had never seen such sumptuous gold-threaded fabrics in my life. It was only many years later that I remembered to share this memory with my dad. It was the sartoria of the Fontana sisters, he told me, for whom he had been commissioned to sew a few pieces. The Fontana sisters, or Sorelle Fontana, is an Italian fashion house specializing in production of high fashion couture. It was founded in Rome in 1943 by three sisters. Their tailoring atelier in Via Liguria started to become known when Linda Christian bought a Sorelle Fontana dress for her wedding with Tyrone Power. Remember him? From then on, the Sorelle Fontana's brand gradually raised in the international jet set. The sisters dressed many celebrities and several heads of states, including Elizabeth Taylor, Audrey Hepburn, Grace Kelly, Ava Gardner, and many others. Audrey Hepburn wore a Sorelle Fontana dress in the 1953 movie Roman Holiday. Many other great ateliers were founded in the same period. Examples everyone knows are Gucci, Ferragamo, and Pucci. Sometimes these designers one you will know, Valentino Garavani, for example, also helped define the cinematic glamour of the era as well. Soon, costume designers in the early 60s and into the 70s started to play a significant role in shaping the look and feel of Italian cinema. Piero Gherardi, Adriana Berselli, and the well-known Piero Tosi are some of the better-known names. Their work infused films with authenticity and depth through carefully considered garments and outfits. I found myself a few weeks ago previewing for our 2025 film festival, Ozpetek's film, Diamanti. It began well, a choral endeavor and definitely a film filtered through a feminine perspective. I had no idea what the storyline would be about, with the many actresses Ozpetek involved. I believed this would be a story or stories of these remarkable women who were somehow connected to the director. But this film was not really about their stories, which at times felt superficial or common, ranging from the issue of domestic violence to the inserts with Elena Sofia Ricci. They had little weight in this story. Rather, this film, I soon realized, was about the director himself, Ozpetek, waxing nostalgic on his career and what it has meant to himself, his audience, and the people he has shared it with and worked alongside. I guess that's why he inserts himself randomly in the scenes. I found this a bit annoying, like an actor on the stage stepping out of the fourth wall. That is when an actor breaks the illusion and loses character. In fact, during the film, the narrative was suddenly interrupted, and Ozpetek takes us, the viewer, out of the illusion and into real life as he talks to his actresses. That didn't go down well with me, I have to be honest. Having said that, though, I loved the general theme of the film, that is, the making of costumes for a film, by more or less a united group of women in the 1970s who, through pain, collaboration, moments of joy, and struggles, realized that alone they are nothing, but together they are a significant force. When a small child is found hiding in a closet among fabrics and passementerie, I suddenly started to take interest in the film. The child found himself in an atelier, a fashion house, a costume department, I don't know, somewhere in Rome. Sewing machines were whirring, scissors glided on the massive work tables, cutting sumptuous fabrics, and women were bent over feverishly, pulling needle and thread and shaping fabrics into glorious creations. Perhaps the little boy was meant to be Ozpetek himself, remembering a part of his childhood. Could that have been where his love of cinema began? And those women that influenced him. But I saw myself, the little kid in the atelier of the Fontana sisters, waiting for my father and holding tight to the golden threaded fabric in my hands. Suddenly I was surrounded by the chatter of the seamstresses and the colorful bolts of fabrics on the tables and the creative outpouring of designers and craftsmen at work. Suddenly, this film, Diamanti, took on a new meaning for me. I saw it as a story about the process that happens behind the scenes, the effort, the hard work, the inspiration, and the disappointment, the ideation and attainment of an ideal, of a work of art, whether it be by one person or many working as one. In this, Ozpetek's film Diamanti is a great success. In its ensemble storytelling and its powerful portrayals of women. His characters embody courage, determination, vulnerability, fear, madness, naivete, intelligence, imagination, regret, sorrow, and rebellion. For me, it became a special film, reminding me of a moment in my childhood that brought me to behind the scenes and made me become a part of the special process of creating cinema. Thanks. See you again.